The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show, so you can hear my show Monday through Friday, 5 to 9 a.m. every single day, Monday through Friday, 5 to 9 a.m. And Mecca Music is not here, but replacement Mecca Music is. Looks almost exactly the same. Yaffe from the Yaffe program, 9 to 11 on WVNN in North Alabama. He follows me. So here he is. Yaffe, you excited about filling in for Mecca?
Always
excited.
Dale.
Okay.
Always.
Well, look, you do a good job. Maybe Mecca's out and you're in. Our guest this week, Sam Gavan. He is my state senator. We'll talk to him about some issues going on inside the state of Alabama. And we've got some fun stuff to talk about. Alabama Alcatraz, yeah, that's on the list here. And we'll talk about maybe some judges not listening to the Supreme Court and what that means, but I'll discuss that later during the parting shot. Right now, though, let's go ahead and get to it. Let's get to the 2-minute warning. All right, Yaffe, it's the big, beautiful bill. Yes, the big, beautiful bill, or one big, beautiful bill, depending on how we're branding it. I like big, beautiful bill. I don't like the one big, beautiful bill thing. But it has now passed. Yes, we now have this bill that has passed, and I'm assuming by the time you see this, people are dying and they're starving to death because they can't eat unless the federal government helps them. They'll all lose health care. It amazes me that the big hook here by Democrats, well, there were two of them. One was that all these government benefits were going to go away and it was going to harm people, ignoring the facts of the matter, which basically say if you are a able-bodied adult, then you have nothing to worry about. They went as far as to say if you're a single mother with 2 kids, you don't need to worry about this. It's basically guys like me. If I was still living on my mom's couch, I would need to worry about it if I was not working and I was trying to get government benefits. The other issue is the debt. Now, we're going to talk about the spending here in a second because I don't think anyone actually cares. But, Yaffe, they're calling it the ugly bill, the one ugly bill and all these other things. We can talk about how Alabama voted, split party line, obviously, no surprise there. Are you surprised they got this done before July 4th? This is like a big thing. If you'd asked me last week, I'd be like, there is no way that they're getting this done before July 4th. Are you surprised they did?
Yeah, I am surprised. I mean, I knew there was a chance, and I figured they would get it passed eventually. But as soon as it got back to the House, you had some pretty conservative Republicans not happy.
Oh, no.
With the Senate version.
You could tell, and you saw the night before the vote on Wednesday night, you saw that like they voted, and it looked like they weren't going to have enough votes, and they had to kind of finagle all that. It worked. This took a lot of work. I mean, and you know, you talk about Donald Trump and his 4D chess and all this other stuff. He was working the phones. He was working this thing. I mean, he is a dynamic personality with the ability to move votes, and I mean move individual votes. He has that personality. Yes, he is a battleship, as we use the submarine and battleship thought process, but he's also kind of a submarine. He's making those phone calls, he's getting that stuff done. Can anyone else get this done, you think?
Oh, I don't know about that. You have to give some credit to Mike Johnson. You have to give some credit, I guess, to J.D. Vance. They were there as well. But I think most of the credit comes from they didn't want to increase taxes.
Yeah.
So they had to get this done. Right. Otherwise, you have a giant tax increase.
All right, let's talk about the next issue here for a second. Let's talk a little bit about spending. Yes, adding to the deficit. You know, it's funny. I was watching some of the coverage of this on the day it passed, the day before. They were having a conversation where they were saying, hey, look, I'm a deficit hog. Donald Trump's a deficit hog. We don't like deficits. We don't like debt. We don't like all this thing. Vote for this thing that adds $5 trillion to the deficit. I don't know what year it was, but I remember the deficit being like $9 trillion at one point. Maybe since I've been doing talk radio, now it's like $39 trillion, and we're still adding to it. And 2027, we'll be back having this conversation. Now, there's a lot of pipe dreams here about this is going to create so much government revenue through economic growth that it's going to be revenue neutral. We're going to chip away at it, which I'd love to see. The idea that we're going to like cut by 1% forever and get down to the point where we're fine, whatever. Do what you got to do. But does anyone actually care about the deficit, the debt, the spending? Can anyone honestly make the argument that they actually care about it?
Well, I'm sure there are some out there that do, but for the most part, no. And the reason why the average American doesn't feel it, or they don't think they feel it. It's this big abstract thing that's like there. It's coming, we should worry about it, but they don't understand how it affects their daily lives.
If I told you you had a $1,000 bill coming at the end of the week,
Right.
you'd freak out about that. If I told you you had $1 million bill at the end of the week, you'd just be like, whatever. I can't do
It's
anything.
over at that point,
yeah,
yes.
I can't do anything about that. I can't even touch it. Why even bother? And then they're like, well, what if I told you could live a pretty good life and we'll just call it $2 trillion or $2 million? You'd be like, fine, I'm already gone. I'm done by this point. But
you're talking about how DC is looking at it, but just the average person.
Right.
You say, oh, we're $60 trillion in debt. Well, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for me as an individual? It's hard to explain that. I mean, it does. There's inflation. It slows down the overall economy. But I think the average American just doesn't feel the effects personally yet.
Britt and Tuberville both talked about the tax cuts. That was like the big hook here. They also talked about rural hospitals and things like that. We can probably talk with Sam Command about that in a little bit. But rural hospitals for Alabama, there was some sort of version of the Cornhusker kickback for Alaska, and things like that. You have things that are like deals being made, and this is how the sausage is made. People, I don't like it. Okay, fine, but this is how it works. And I was kind of surprised they got it done this way, but they got it done before July 4th. Maybe he is a king.
Maybe Trump is a king?
Maybe he just get these things done. Maybe he is. I mean, I know. Maybe that's.
I thought he was Hitler.
Oh, okay.
He's a king. I don't know. I can't keep up.
Dictator on day one. That's what it was. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some new Alabama laws. Look, I can tell you that the overtime tax, it expired, but you've already forgot about that. I can tell you about state parental leave. We could talk about that. We could talk about the Choose Act, where Yaffe's going to try to get you to pay for his kid to go to school. We could talk about all of those things. But let's just be honest. Out of the new Alabama laws, only one people actually care about. Yaffe, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Does that have to do with marijuana?
That's right. A surprise. Now, I'm not saying that Yaffe knowing that says anything, but I think it says something. Now, let's talk about this. I had Chig Martin on my show. Chig Martin is a joke. He's a clown. He is a moron. He is embarrassing. And we could go on and on, but we only have about 2 minutes for this. But he's running as the head Democrat, so probably get it. I mean, he wants to be the Democrat nominee at this point. He's getting fed into the wood chipper at the end of this. I mean, he's not beating Tommy Tuberville, who is the governor-elect coach, United States Senator Tommy Tuberville. But this whole thing about the marijuana thing, why? Why is it so damn important to the media and the people that care about this issue? I think the general public is just like, whatever, I don't care. So that's where people like me come in and go, no, it's bad. It's terrible. We should not be doing any of this. They're calling Andy Witt Alcohol Andy now because,
really?
yes, because he just loves alcohol so much. And
I love that alliteration, though.
But that was my nickname in college. People don't know this. But at the same time,
it's your nickname now. No,
but at the same time, the people who care about it so much, but they're their own worst enemy. Is there any path forward for more marijuana, more THC, more of this? Because the raids ahead of time, I'm telling you, that's a sign. That's a symbol. They're saying, we're coming. Look at us. We're coming. You better be right about this. And if I'm Steve Marshall, I'm running for something. I'm going after this.
Well, and it makes me happy because I think as a country, we have gotten closer and closer to we're just going to legalize all of it.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I'm glad at least in Alabama we've come to some sanity because I'm with you. I think we should crack down on it more. We should go in the opposite direction.
I was on vacation in Pennsylvania this week. Smoke shops everywhere. I don't know what their law is, but everywhere. And you can't tell me that that's good. I'm sorry. I have a hard time believing. Sorry, which one of those is your favorite, Yaffe? Is it the money in your pocket?
I've never been to Pennsylvania. So.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about which of these bills is your favorite. Is it the money in your pocket, the school choice?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I think so. I mean, anything cracking down, though, on criminals, I think is good.
Yeah, I'm down with it as well. All right, last thing. Let's talk about Alabama, Alcatraz. Now, I have an idea for this. Look, the Homeland Security has bid out, I guess, two places in Alabama where they're going to up the number of beds for their facilities. They're not talking about building an actual Alabama Alcatraz, but let me just offer this up for you. Alabama Alligator Alcatraz. Let's put this thing at Wheeler Park in Decatur and actually put all those gators that are there to use. We could also round them up everywhere else and put them there. You wondered how I was going to turn this into Alligator.
I knew this was coming.
But the fact of the matter is, Donald Trump was down at Alligator Alcatraz and talked about this. They're also calling it Gator Gitmo, which is another one they're referring to it as. But he's down there and he's talking about states like Louisiana and Alabama and all these other things. Will we see more of these pop up? Especially because I think Florida's getting a lot of positive attention out of this for this, and they're not for-profit prisons by any stretch, but they are helping with this problem. And you saw, Ron DeSantis very much behind it. Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis back. They're buddies again.
There was a bromance going on.
If you can feed illegals to alligators, they're like, all right, we're on the same page. But should Alabama be trying to go down this path as well? Forget about the alligators. That's my pipe dream of getting them out of waterways near me. But should they be looking to build facilities like this, and should they get on board?
Yes, absolutely. It's politically popular in a state like Alabama, just like it is
Where
in
is it
Florida.
politically unpopular on television? Everywhere else it's popular.
I meant that's true. I mean, like the blue states, obviously. They're going to do the opposite.
Right.
They're going to let them go, I guess. And But no, I think it's a great idea. Plus, it has been a practical problem to find a place to house some of these illegals. As we're ramping up deportations, we have to have a place to put them. And this
they get their due process, which they're not entitled to. Interesting numbers from the jobs report. American-born jobs way up. Foreign-born jobs way down. That's an interesting. That's an interesting number here.
Yeah, because people were surprised at the jobs report, but I think that played a huge role of why it was up more than they thought.
And people are like, well, who's going to do these jobs? I was like, well, people are going to do. Like when you pay them more, they will actually. It could cause some problems, but that's what they're going to try to do. All right, when we come back, Sam Gavan will be with us. He's my state senator. He's a state senator, and obviously to be mine, you'd have to be a state senator. But we'll talk with him in just a little bit. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to Alabama Politics This Week. We'll be right back.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Sector anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Opioids that were prescribed by a doctor, it's no big deal.
The pills we felt were probably the least harmful because something that came from a doctor, it can't be that bad.
This feels so good and I want to feel this way every day.
3 and 4 pills would turn into 9 and 10 pills.
Old values and morals were completely cast away.
Addiction is lying to you.
There is a way out.
You just have to reach out for help.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Scout Pest Control is your one-stop shop for pest control. We do it all, from rodents to mosquitoes, termites to bed bugs. We offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on all our services. When you think pest control, think Scout. ScoutPestControl.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
At Elite Door Service, we're your local experts for all things garage doors, residential and commercial. Our licensed and insured team is led by a certified master technician. When it comes to garage doors, don't settle for average. Choose Elite Door Service.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands. We'll help you put off the high cost of a roof replacement for at least 5 years.
Or 10.
Or sometimes even 15.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. But don't wait. If your roof loses too much protective coating, it's too late. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
What if you could make a free phone call and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Right now, you could be paying as high as 20% interest. Your new interest rate could be reduced to as low as 2.48%. You can refinance any existing car loan or leased car and save money every month. Make this free phone call and learn how to save hundreds of dollars a year by refinancing your existing car loan.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Welcome to Alabama Politics This Week, or welcome back, I guess I should say. I'm Dale Jackson. With me this week in for Mecca Music is Yaffee.
And we are joined by State Senator Sam Gavin. And I really just want to ask you, we were just talking about new laws going into effect in Alabama. Do you have a favorite one you were really excited to get done?
Of course, SB 1. I mean, always. It was my bill. And they've been trying to get workers' compensation protection for teachers for 57 years in the state of Alabama. I dropped the bill last year, and this year we got it passed, and Governor Ivey signed it into law. So very excited about that. Most people are not aware that our teachers, and not just teachers, but everybody that works for the education system, all state employees have workers' compensation coverage. State teachers don't.
And let's just, before we go any further, let's just explain this further. If a teacher got hurt on the job, there were not any protections for that teacher if that were to happen. There were no workers' comp or anything like this. They would find themselves in a different situation. Obviously, their insurance would help them and all these other things, but this is more helpful to them. State employees also got some added leave time.
As did teachers.
As did teachers as well for parental leave and things of that nature. That's good. Alabama, and I'm just going to mention something about state workers as we're talking about them. We have these Confederate holidays all the time. These things come up. Now we've added Juneteenth and all these other things. Is there any talk about the Confederate holidays being consolidated, figuring out a way not to have so many of them? I know there's talk about days off and things like this. Donald Trump said, we have too many days off, complaining about Juneteenth. Is there any talk about that, or are we just going to leave status quo?
There is. I don't expect to see it this fall, right before, I say this fall, this upcoming session before elections in the following fall, but there is talk about it.
Okay. Let's talk also about some other stuff happening here in the state. I want to talk a little bit about this marijuana law. It's THC law, whatever you want to refer to it as. I think there's a lot of talk about, it's going to cost, I think it's 2,000 jobs was the latest report out. Lots of businesses are going to close. Here's my take, and you tell me where I'm wrong. These are people who were selling things that are now illegal, and they were selling to the people they shouldn't sell them to, and they were doing it so much that it was keeping them in business. Should we be worried about them?
Absolutely not. What I've been hearing about lately is all these busts that actually Attorney General has led, not actions under the new law. Is basically they were using the cover of the existing law, or the fact that there really was no regulation in place, to sell the real thing. And so they got busted on. And then as Senator Weaver said, if you can't make a living without selling, illegal products to children, then maybe you don't need to be in business. And I think that is the attitude of the legislature. And I think that you'll see, in fact, she's already pre-filed a bill to strengthen it going forward. That was part of the problem that we had, is so many people were uncomfortable with how far we were going to let things happen. But there are some loopholes in existing law.
So her bill, where she talks about maybe strengthening a flat-out ban on this stuff, I support 100% in. Okay, I'm 100% in on this. I'll just say that before I say the next thing I'm going to say. But I mean, they cracked that door a little bit. Like, there was a talk of shutting it down completely, and then that looked like it was going nowhere. They kind of cracked the door and allowed what happened to happen, and they're still complaining about that. Can that further ban get through?
I'm not sure it can get through the House, from what I understand. I mean, I think it can get through the Senate, but we see certain bills get through the House, can't get through the Senate, and certain bills get through the Senate, can't get through the House. So we'll have to see how that goes.
One thing we talked about earlier, Dale was asking me my favorite law. Obviously, the school choice stuff going into effect, money showing up in people's education savings accounts. It seems like it's been pretty successful so far, although there have been some complaints that it's going mostly to students who are already in private school. Do you think that'll change? I mean, we've seen it in other states where once more and more people find out about it, they'll want to take on the program. But do you think School Choice has been a success so far?
I think it has, and I think you'll see more public school to public school as that gets more established. Those changes, but there are other costs involved with public or private school rather. I mean, I went to private school. It was 23 miles one way, and so there's a lot of people. You live at the edge of the county. There's a lot of people that just don't have that transportation opportunity, but it's a I think it's going to work better in some parts of the state than others. I don't know if it's work as well up here because we just don't have the schools. Now, does this generate the schools? And a lot of the schools we have are full. I mean, I've talked to some of the headmasters, and they're like, "Won't make a difference here. We're full." And of course, right now you have income limitations on who can use it, and a lot of those are not allowable. I think it'll make a big difference in the Black Belt, where the $7,000 will almost cover the tuition.
And I think that's where you'll see the new schools be built as well. I think that's part of it as well. The question I have for you on that issue: have you heard from any headmasters or principals or people who are running these private schools already saying we're not taking the money? Have you heard any of that?
I had one that is questioning it.
Okay.
And whether they will take, because it's very important that they want no strings attached to it. They're going to take it. They're not going to change and do things the way. And that was a big contention.
Sure.
You hear the public school, well, they don't have to do this, they don't have to do that. But again, it's a parent's choice. If the parent is comfortable in sending their kids to, X school, then that's on the parents.
Do you envision an explosion in homeschooling?
I don't think that's going to make a big difference. I mean, I say we, it was primarily my wife, homeschooled our kids for 7 years. And, that was a thing that it wouldn't have mattered whether we got a boost on that or not. That was just a principal thing that primarily she wanted to do, but we agreed to do together.
Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
Well, and I wanted to ask you as well, we talked about your favorite law. Are there any laws going into effect or anything that you wished would be going into effect that you weren't able to get done this past session? That maybe.
Oh gosh, I wasn't prepared for that one. Overtime
tax.
The one. Well, there you go. I mean, I was the sponsor of that in the Senate the previous year, and that was disappointing. It's one of those things that I expressed my opinion. I kept saying, what's going to happen if the feds go do all this, and all of a sudden Alabama's going to have to come back up and catch up with the feds. But it's not like you can just vote against a tax cut of the magnitude that we did pass. So I had to vote yes. So.
Yeah, they moved it, and look, the argument was legitimate. I mean, State Senator Arthur Moore, I think, was in kind of leading that charge and made the point like we can give this much to everyone as opposed to just this, and maybe we'll come back and revisit that. And I think that's exactly what's probably going to happen. Sam Gavan, thank you very much for being here. He's my state senator. We appreciate him making himself available. Yavi in for Mecca Music, but he's also leaving. So the show's going to get a lot better, so stay tuned. I've got my party shot coming up next on Alabama Politics This Week.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Sector anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Opioids that were prescribed by a doctor, it's no big deal.
The pills we felt were probably the least harmful because something that came from a doctor, it can't be that bad.
This feels so good, and I want to feel this way every day.
3 and 4 pills would turn into 9 and 10 pills.
Old values and morals were completely cast away.
Addiction is lying to you.
There is a way out.
You just have to reach out for help.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. My friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Scout Pest Control is your one-stop shop for pest control. We do it all, from rodents to mosquitoes, termites to bed bugs. We offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on all our services. When you think pest control, think Scout. ScoutPestControl.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
At Elite Door Service, we're your local experts for all things garage doors, residential and commercial. Our licensed and insured team is led by a certified master technician. When it comes to garage doors, don't settle for average. Choose Elite Door Service.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands. We'll help you put off the high cost of a roof replacement for at least 5 years.
Or 10.
Or sometimes even 15.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. But don't wait. If your roof loses too much protective coating, it's too late. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
What if you could make a free phone call and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Right now, you could be paying as high as 20% interest. Your new interest rate could be reduced to as low as 2.48%. You can refinance any existing car loan or leased car and save money every month. Make this free phone call and learn how to save hundreds of dollars a year by refinancing your existing car loan.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus, live, local, and always on.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. Thank you very much for being here. In just a moment, I'll give you my party shot. But before I do, let me remind you, head on over to yellowhairnews.com, sign up for my email blast. You'll get the 7 things you should be talking about today, every day delivered to your email inbox. You'll also see the videos I make almost every single day and stuff from Yaffe as well as there. Just click past it. Look, click on my stuff. Ignore his. yellowhammernews.com. Right now, though, let's go ahead and get to that party shot. My party shot this week is directed at judges. Judges everywhere in the state of Alabama, in Hawaii, in Oregon, and now in the District of Columbia. Because we heard the Supreme Court came out last week and had a bunch of great rulings. Huge week for Donald Trump. Lots of stuff good going on for him. And one of those was the end of nationwide injunctions. Well, they figured out a way to get at his immigration policy a different way now. And what they've decided to do is say, oh, you can't change the asylum system because it is what it is. And if people say asylum, they're then allowed into the country. And that is not a joke. If they come across the border in any way, shape, or form and say asylum, America takes them in and starts putting them through a process which releases them into the country. Donald Trump shut that down because it's stupid. And now this judge says you have to reopen it. So we'll see what happens with that if the Supreme Court is going to step in and stop that. But that is another problem with judges in this country. Joe Biden can open up the doors, but Donald Trump cannot close them. It's very interesting to watch all of this happening, and we'll continue to cover it for you right here on Alabama Politics This Week. I appreciate you taking the time to watch us and listen to us across the great state of Alabama. We will talk to you soon.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia, and this is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Opioids that were prescribed by a doctor, it's no big deal.
The pills we felt were probably the least harmful because something that came from a doctor, it can't be that bad.
This feels so good, and I want to feel this way every day.
3 and 4 pills would turn into 9 and 10 pills.
Old values and morals were completely cast away.
Addiction is lying to you.
There is a way out.
You just have to reach out for help.